Hello, my name is Rob Richards. I'm the owner of Rocky Mountain Sewing and Vacuum. I thought today I would talk a little bit about a feature that the Pfaff machines all have, starting from their Passport 2 all the way up to the Creative Icon. This feature here is called a Dual Feed, IDT, Integrated Dual Transport, some people call it that. And what this does, it's a metal foot that you can engage and disengage at will, and it feeds the top and the bottom fabric at the same time. Super useful for people that sew heavier fabrics, quilts, things like that. This really kind of popped into my mind lately because people are sewing masks with maybe straps that people are needing to sew on, 4, 5, 6 layers of fabric, perhaps pleats, things like that, that really need help feeding the top and the bottom. A lot of times people will start sewing and, you know, they start out like this, but then after they finish their seam, they end up like this. That's because most people are hoping that the presser foot that presses on the fabric is going to press hard enough on the top, and through friction, it'll just guide with the bottom feed dogs. That is not always the case. Obviously, if you've sewn it all for any length of time, you know that things slip, and that is a bad thing. So the dual feed will feed along when the foot is down. It feeds both the top and the bottom at the same rate. If I reverse, it reverses. If I go forward, it goes forward. If I go to a straight stitch, or another stitch for that matter, that has a longer length, it takes a longer jump forward along with the bottom feed dogs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to quickly rethread our needle. Don't know if I can do this so you can see. Presser foot back on, put my dual feed down, and I'm just going to do a simple straight stitch here. And what I'm going to emulate is a flat felled seam like you would find at the bottom of your pant legs on jeans, things like that. It's a very smooth machine. The nice thing about the Pfaff is that it has the same piercing power whether you're going stitch at a time or full blast. This particular machine I'm sewing on is a Passport 2. It has a needle up, needle down function, so when I'm done sewing, I can take my foot off the gas and the foot will always stay, or the needle will always stay in the down position. When it is turned off, the needle always stays in the up position. So that way, you don't have to worry about making sure you turn the hand wheel to make sure that the needle's all the way up. You know, sometimes people think their needle's all the way up and it's not, and they pull the thread out and they get this mess with 3 or 4 threads coming up. Never have to worry about that with the Pfaff Passports or up. Okay, so right now we're going to sew the other side here. I'm going to just use a straight stretch stitch, which is a very strong reinforced stitch. Takes a minute. This stitch is actually stronger than if you used a heavier thread without the tension issues that can come with that. And then this machine also has an automatic tie-off. So when I'm done, I hit this button and it automatically will finish my seam for me. And tie off at the end. Okay. So right now we have this. Got a lot of threads there. 3 layers of denim. I'm going to fold this over 3 times, and we're going to have, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. We now have 9 layers at the hump right here. Most people will do something crazy. They say, well, I'm just going to get a running start to go over this hump. That will knock your machine out of adjustment. They try to use things like hump jumpers, different things like that. But the dual feed, you don't need to do that. It acts like 4-wheel drive for your car. So you can just sew up. Now right here is where everybody has trouble, because 2/3 of your pressure is on the back third of your foot. So this is where machines will jam, you'll break a needle, you do all kinds of crazy things, or even knock your machine out of time, which means it's time for a service. So with this machine, I can just go slowly if I like, and I have a standard needle in here, and without doing anything, it just walks right up over the hump, down the other side, through 9 layers of denim. Now right here, I have 3 layers of denim, and I have a single layer of a very sheer tricot, and I'm going to sew it on the stretchy side. So you can stabilize, you can stretch, you can pull this through if you want to try to get it to go evenly, but I can go from 3 layers of heavy denim to a single layer of this tricot. And you'll notice, you probably didn't see, but I have not changed my tensions. I didn't touch anything. It has a little thread cutter here, and if you can see that, it lays nice and flat. It's a nice straight stitch. If I disengage the dual feed on this Pfaff, it is now just like any other sewing machine. If I were to sew on this, again, not changing any stitches or anything. I've done this 1,000 times in my life. And Pfaff does have a great feed system on its own, but you can kind of see there that it is more puckery. So there is a big difference between the two of these, and I think it would make a humongous difference just in your regular sewing life, not to mention if you're trying to sew masks and things like that. So that's enough for now on this. I will be showing you some mask sewing in a minute here, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I educated you a little. Thanks for watching.